I'd like to welcome everyone to this October 11th regular council meeting. Will everybody please stand? Let's remember all those who passed away last month, and including Councilman Polensky's uncle, Gene Fields, who passed away, and his viewing is this evening. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Lutz?
Here.
Cullen? Here. Here. Rodriguez? Here. Mr. Sabatini? Here. Mr. Polensky? Mr. DiGiuseppe?
Here. Just for the record, Mr. Polensky is at his uncle's viewing, and Tuesday night is the night that Councilwoman Rodriguez works until 9 o'clock. And I'd like to welcome Councilman Musi here, who's not been with us due to his treatments that he gets 3 days a week. So I'm glad to see you, Anthony.
You want to say something?
Well, I got a second. First of all, I'd like to thank Lower Bucks Hospital, because without them, I wouldn't be able to be here or take treatments. I'd like to thank everybody out in Bristol who's got plenty of cards, plenty of letters. Chief, thank you. Stopped in to see me a few times, Merrill. Mr. Dillon, who took me to the hospital. Mr. Salerno, Mr. DiGiuseppe, and my new personal physician, Councilwoman Cullen. I'd like to thank you and everyone else who stopped in to see me. Ellen, everyone. So it made it a lot better. And I'd like to thank all the parishioners, too, at St. Mark's, who I understand pray for me every week. And the closer you get to go seeing them, the more you wish you get prayers. So thanks, everyone, for all the prayers. That's it.
Okay. All right, at this time, I'm going to open up public participation. Anybody on this side of the room would like to speak, please state your name.
Good evening, Greg Pezza. I live in Harriman. There's just a few things I wanted to address, some of which we've already addressed up here, just maybe getting some clarification, some reminders. The first is the Green Lane project. I know I've kind of been harping on this, but it appears as if we're just near the finishing stages, but that there's just a few minor things that are still not finished yet, and I wondered if we had an update on when that might be the case.
Why don't you answer? Joe's on eyes and ears on the project.
I spoke to the engineer as late as last night. They're supposed to finish it tonight. They've got one half of it done. They did the, which would be the east lane all the way down. They put a nice big thick topping and blacktop down, rolled it. They're now rolling the west side of it. So it's supposed to be finished tonight. There was a couple little things they had to finish up underneath the bridge. They got them done during the week. The problem was that this crew, this is their main blacktop crew, was tied up on a day job all of last week. And they said they'll be back Monday night and Tuesday night. So it should be done by tonight. They're working now. As I came down, they were setting up. And if not, some touch up tomorrow. That'll be it. Okay?
Yeah.
Say something to him?
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for Green Lane, the entrance, what you've done with the fall look that you've put to the sign, the Bristol Borough. You've adopted it. We appreciate it. You do a wonderful job. I'm going to pass it around for everybody to see what a great job you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate what Councilwoman Cullen just said. I drove by and saw Joe out there working on the sign himself, and you know, obviously Joe's in the know, so appreciate that. Also with Green Lane, I mentioned this before, but I just really would like to drive home the fact that under the bridge, especially when temperatures are changing, can be dangerous, and that if we can do something to either light that bridge, and I know when I say we, I know that usually is pertaining to the state because it's a state road, but if we could encourage the state to do something to light under that bridge, as well as to put up, whether it be a sign that warns, I think that'd be a good development. So I'd just like to reiterate that
I
as
think
well.
Mr. Dillon, since you spoke here, has contacted them and they're working on that.
Great. Another point is something that we brought up a long time ago, and I know it was in the works. It was something that some people had been rumored to be looking at, and that is the Mill Run property. And it being in that neighborhood, I kind of promised people that I would keep them informed as to what's happening with that property. And I've been told by a few people in the neighborhood that they saw a few gentlemen that were actually touring the property that looked serious as far as the business was concerned. And I know there was a number of rumors before that there were some Chinese investors that were interested, and I'm wondering, just based on really just kind of the talk of the neighborhood, if they're accurate in saying that there were some people that were serious about looking into it within the last week or so, if you know.
I think you're right on all points.
Okay, so it seems serious? I mean, someone does seem to be really checking it
Oh,
out.
everybody's serious until it comes time to, sign the agreement, but right now, I mean, everything, you're on top of things, I can tell you that.
Okay.
Everything that you said is true.
Okay. So then I guess we just might want to make it clear to the people that...
Nobody has approached us with, there's nothing, there's been rumor, there's been calls to the borough, there is a group involved for a nursing home, nothing, rehabs and all that stuff,
Right.
so.
Yeah, and again, I wanted to reiterate that too, because I know that causes some people some angst, and that is
We
that...
control all the zoning on that property, so that's what I said before, so people don't panic, and I'm glad you're on top of it.
Thanks, okay. And then the last thing, I'm sorry, I have two more things, but I won't be long. I know about 6 months ago, we had a zoning officer who was pretty active, who, most people around town thought he was pretty thorough. Some people might have thought too thorough based on your perspective, but in all seriousness, I know that he was really on top of his job, which I think is a good thing, because I can say, living in Harriman and living in many parts of Bristol, how close we are to our neighbors, to our, to people across the street, where, a few violations that shouldn't necessarily be the job of someone to call in may go unreported. And they can really hurt your property value or the property value next, your property value or your other neighbor's property value as well. Especially in a town like this, all is affected by that. And I know that people have been picking up the slack, and I think they've been doing a good job. But I'm wondering if we plan on filling that role anytime soon.
I think going into the winter, you basically, grass complaints and all that, that goes on with them nuisance calls slows down.
Right.
I think what council has to do over the winter is make a decision, bringing him on. I think that Jim and Sally and George and everybody's been handling a lot of nuisance calls.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do the best we can, and John's working as hard as he can, but I think eventually that position has to be filled. But what everybody needs to understand, Rory wasn't just somebody you hired off the street. He had all the certifications to do this as an inspector. Like a lot of times people approach you and say, I like to apply for Rory's job. And I say, well, do you have all the qualifications that Rory had? No. Well, I think if we have to hire somebody that's certified in doing inspections.
I certainly agree, and I certainly agree with the other aspect of it, and that is that, a lot of the people that have picked up the slack have done a nice job, but as you point out, I'm not so sure that's sustainable or even necessarily fair to them. So I would just like to reiterate my stance on that, and that is, if there are budgetary issues involved, and I think that's prudent to look at the budget, I would like to think that maybe we would have to look at something else and fill that position. It just seems to me to be an important position, especially, like I said, when we are such a tight-knit community. We're so close to our neighbors, and we really rely on one another to keep our property values where we want them to be, and I think it's an important job. So I agree with you. So, okay, and then just the last thing, and this is just something that came up today, and that is the tot lot at the base of Cleveland Street along Trenton Avenue. I've heard from a few people that what's happening there is disgusting in some ways, and that that also that there just needs to be a presence there, because older kids are really taking control of that tot lot. And what's there for the younger children to have fun and to play with, they're exposed to some bigger kid stuff to keep it clean, I guess you could say, at this point in time. And I'm just hoping we can keep a focus of attention on that. I know Mrs. Cullen and Mr. Nelson also brought it up today as well, and I think it's an important thing, because those tot lots are beautiful and they're great and they're there for the kids and they're along the path and people love them, but those older kids are really taking control of that. So,
Well, I'll talk to the chief and the mayor after the meeting. I have some plans for that.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else on this side would like to speak on anything? Anybody on this side of the room would like to speak on anything? State your name and offer a record.
I just wanted to speak on behalf of the parade committee, and we wanted to take this time to thank all of our sponsors, including in City Council, for their donations and support with the parade, all emergency management, local dignitaries groups, and local businesses and residents for their continuous help and support. And we just wanted to bring a few points. There are a few things we'd like to mention. First is our upcoming basket auction fundraiser. It's going to be held this Sunday, October 16th at 1 p.m. at St. Mark's Cafeteria. Anyone wishing to make any basket or gift donations, please contact a committee member or go to our website, which is now up and running, bristolboroughparade.com, and it's B-O-R-O. The date of the parade this year is Saturday, November 26th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, starting at 1 o'clock. And the Cub Scouts will have 2 troops walking the parade route this year, collecting canned goods for our local food banks. And all food collecting during the parade route will be donated to local Bristol Borough families in need. We will also be collecting toys throughout the parade, and these toys will be donated to the local borough children for the holiday season. And just to reiterate, if anyone needs any contact information, or if you are interested in making any type of donation to the parade, or if you are interested in participating, entering a float, walking in the parade, go to our website, bristolboroughparade.com.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak on anything? Okay, at this time, that ends public participation. We have a couple presentations. Councilwoman Trinell is going to make first to the parade committee.
Kristen, you asked for a donation. I have one right here for you.
You and Ellen want to come up and accept your check?
This has become this has become a tradition that this council supports the Borough Parade. I know that Ralph and I probably never missed one. And it's a great day for the borough. These women work with their committee very, very hard on behalf of the borough to kind of showcase what we have, and it's always successful and it's always fun. So by all means, give them whatever help. Certainly patronize the auction this Saturday. It kind of coincides with Bristol Day, so you'll be out, you'll be wandering about. By all means, go down to St. Mark's and Sunday. Oh, we do. Oh, see, I'm going to go Sunday.
Bristol Day is Saturday.
That's right. By all means, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, come to Bristol Day, Sunday. By all means, come to the Chinese auction. You want to say anything?
Yes, I want to thank you all very much. And
My wife said, take the basket in case Ellen's at the meeting. That's on my table. So when you leave, go pick it up.
yes, the borough, you help us out a tremendous amount. This year we're having a very difficult time, as we all know, because of our economy, I guess it is. But we're hoping our fundraiser goes well, because it's the only fundraiser we hold each year. But you know, like we said, we like more participants, more for floats and whatnot. It's free to enter the parade. A lot of people think you have to pay. There's no fees for our parade. Everything we do on a voluntary basis, and we'd like you to participate. Whether it be your business or whatever, it's a great thing.
By all means, on Sunday, please go and you buy tickets and you get to bid on a wide array of prizes and baskets, and if there's any businesses out there that could put a basket together and help them out, that's greatly appreciated too.
And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Stop at my house if you want.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stein.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Thank you, Maureen.
Love it.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
And who is here on behalf of Historic Bristol Day? Would that be Donna Albright?
You're in luck, I barely have a voice.
Yeah. Why?
I don't either, the whole thing was triggered.
Well, here on behalf of Bristol Borough Council, here is a contribution towards your endeavors, and I'd like to read a resolution. So this is a resolution honoring the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation for the sponsorship of the annual Historic Bristol Day celebration. Whereas the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation will sponsor the annual Historic Bristol Day celebration on October 15, 2011. And whereas this event has brought positive exposure to the borough of Bristol and has offered its citizens a day honoring the historical significance of Bristol Borough. And whereas the council and the mayor of the borough of Bristol desire to honor the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation and the many hardworking volunteers for their efforts in this annual event. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the borough of Bristol, and is hereby resolved by the authority of same, that October 15, 2011 is hereby designated as Historic Bristol Day, and that the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation is hereby honored for its sponsorship of the annual Bristol Day event. The council and mayor congratulate the participants, volunteers, and sponsors of this event, which has proven to be a highlight of the many community events in Bristol Borough, duly resolved this 11th day of October 2011. Oh, you're welcome. And again, you know, Historic Bristol Day is it's the final festival that kind of brings us together as a community, and it's widely attended by people all over Bucks County. But there again, it's a lot of volunteers, it's local people like the parade committee that work extremely hard, and they don't get anything out of this besides the absolute pleasure of showcasing what we know that we have here in this town. So, you know, once again, when you see the volunteers, thank them for their work, because there's nothing more that they get than this and the gratification of doing it. So thank you very much for your work.
Thank you, Donna.
Please stop me. This is the 35th anniversary of Historic Bristol Day, and in honor of that, we changed it around a little bit, and this year we have a theme. We're commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Civil War, and we're focusing our day on the history of Bristol. We're starting out at 10 a.m. with a ceremony at Friends Cemetery. There was an African-American Civil War soldier that was buried there, and his tombstone was vandalized, and it was found by a police officer in Middletown Township. We've gotten the stone back, we've had it reinstalled, and at 10 a.m. we will have a rededication ceremony rededicating that tombstone to William Hampton and all of the African-American Civil War soldiers that are buried in Bristol Borough. We'll be participating in that will be the U.S. Colored Troops 3rd Regiment and Camp William Penn, as well as some other reenactors for the day. We'll have walking tours of the Civil War homes that were built already in Bristol, and we're also going to have reenactors. We'll have Abe Lincoln, Walt Whitman, Clara Barton. We're going to have Civil War memorabilia, we'll have medical equipment. We'll also have someone portraying Michael Dougherty, who is the Civil War hero from Bristol and Congressional Medal of Honor winner. So we hope to see you there. It is starting at 10 o'clock. It goes till 4 p.m. on this Saturday. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So for all of those who would like to stop, that from out of town or in town that want to stop in the Borough Hall, it will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. What did you dress up that day as?
Oh, I'd rather not say. We'll talk later.
Both organizations do a great job, and I hope the parade committee has a successful auction on Sunday, and they raised the money they need. Ellen, is there anywhere people can send a check to? Is there an address that if they're home?
Yes, the committee address is 268 Jackson Street, Bristol, PA.
So 268 Jackson Street, Bristol, PA.
Right, and they can make it out to Bristol Borough Parade.
Make check payable to the Bristol Borough Parade.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that ends public participation and awards. At this time, item number 2 on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of September 12th and October 3rd, to accept the treasurer's report for August, to accept the police and DJ's report for September, to accept the fire chief's report for September, and to accept the borough inspector's report for September, and then finally to accept the HARB report for September 26th.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Musi. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 3.
Let's adopt a resolution designating Saturday, October 15th, 2011 as Historic Bristol Day.
Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Trinnell. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a resolution proclaiming October 9th through 15th as Fire Prevention Week.
Second. Second by Mr. Sabatini. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5.
Mr. President, I'd like to put a resolution to the floor authorizing the purchase of Bucks County Tax Parcel 04023-369-1016 Chestnut Street in the amount of $61,000.
Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Cullen. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the time extension for the Amish Market Land Development to 12/19/11 per the letter dated 9/19/11.
Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Cullen. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the 90-day trial period of school district's traffic improvement study for the Snyder-Girardi Elementary School.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Sabatini. Questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Go
Can
ahead,
I?
I'm sorry.
Okay. I really hope that we can work to implement this new traffic safety improvement, because I rode by the school today and I watched a mother pick her child up off of the curb, and I just felt that it was so dangerous. And then, in addition to that, a woman walked in between 2 cars where there was not a crossing guard. We pay crossing guards for this reason, and walked in front of the car with a stroller out into traffic. And it's just beyond me that, we're putting safety nets there for them. I would really like for them to use them. I would hate to see a child or a mother or a father or somebody be hurt when, we're trying to help you. So I hope this works out.
Just to comment on this, the school district has asked for a 90-day trial period to make sure that the study that they had done works. If it works, then we'll come back to council to pass a resolution and adopt an ordinance pertaining this. They want to implement this before the cold weather really gets in and before the winter sets in. So that's why we're moving quick on this and giving them a trial period versus the other way they're doing it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8.
A motion to approve the landscape maintenance agreement with PennDOT for the landscaping of the median barrier as part of the Bristol Pike reconstruction project.
I have a second. Second by Mr. Sabatini. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 9.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the mutual aid agreement between the fire companies of the borough and the city of Burlington.
I have a second. Second by Ms. Trinnell. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 10.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to hire Joel Bolstein as environmental solicitor for the Old Route 13 Gateway project at a rate of $250 per hour.
Do I have a second? No second, motion dies for lack of a second. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I was hoping that the newspaper reporter would be here tonight. Most of you know that I did send a letter to the editor about the lack of coverage on the 4 events that we had on the 17th of September. In there, I told him I was displeased with it, that we had 4 events going at one time, and there was no coverage the next day in the paper. Well, the newspaper guy sent me an email. I would like to read it. Hi, Mayor. I saw your letter to the editor published in the paper and wanted to respond. I cover the borough now and got no notice of any of these events you mentioned from either the borough or the organizations that put them on. It takes only a couple of minutes to send us an email or give us a call. If I had known about these events, we certainly could have considered covering the event with a reporter or photographer or both. But it's tough to do that on something you've been given no notice of. We've covered many of these kinds of events in the borough in the past, and we do our best to continue that, if we know about them. Your letter made it sound as if we deliberately ignored the events to slight the borough, which is ridiculous. And your insinuation that we only look for bad in Bristol was also ridiculous. Thank you for your attention. Well, I responded back to him, and without trying to tell you what I did say, in a nutshell, I told him that I know for a fact that there were emails sent by the organizations, that each event that we've had in the borough, the paper has done coverage of the events prior to the events, and I even told him that the borough, paid for an ad in the Courier Times to let the people and the surrounding areas know that the affair was going on. So I feel I'm still upset over it. That's all I have to say, Mr. President.
Anything else?
No.
If anybody gets a chance before we adjourn, you need to stop down at the new Public Works facility. It's just amazing what they did there this week. All the shrubbery is in, the landscaping's being put in, it was hydro-seeded, trees are planted. They're trying to get all this stuff in because now is the right time to do the landscaping on the property. But it's just, if you can visualize what this place is going to be like, it's going to be a place that we're going to all be proud of when it's done. But you just got to see what's going on down there. If you just get a chance, ride down and just look at it. Can I get a motion to adjourn?